All right. Hello again. Once again,
Hello.
hello.
How
Thank
are
you
you
for
doing?
having
Yeah,
me on here. Great. Great to see you, Meir. Great to see you.
yeah, same here. Always happy to see you.
Thank you. I would like to take a moment and introduce you to perhaps those few who don't know who you are, if I may, please. Thank you. Meir Ezra, who is he? He's a philanthropist. He rehabilitates criminals and addicts. He helps parents raise better families. He is a businessman and he helps businessmen, businesswomen all over the world take their business to a whole new level. At the age of 31, he made his first $100 million. He is a father. He is a husband. He is a friend to so many. To his students, he is known as an extraordinary man, a man with integrity, a thought leader, an exceptional human being. It is absolutely my pleasure to have this opportunity again, Meir. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, really thank you. I'm very, very happy to talk to you again.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. I have a lot of questions today. I think I counted. I think 7 to 8 questions, but I kind of prioritized. So we'll see where that gets us, and then I'll have to come back again.
That's a good thing. I love it.
Great. There's so much going on in the world, Meir. There's so much going on in the world, and my first question today to you is this. Why do we constantly want to prove ourselves? What is this need of I'm right and you're wrong? Where does it come from?
Okay, where does it come from? So if you understand that the spirit is actually, life is quite simple for the spirit, because the spirit is a nothingness that can bring about somethingness. So you are total knowing, super powerful, godlike abilities. That's the spirit, okay? So the spirit is very, very, very powerful. Now, what's the liability of being so powerful? It's boring. It's extremely boring. Because if you go to play basketball against a child, okay, you can play for 15 minutes, 20 minutes for the child, but you will not make it a profession. You will not make it your life purpose to play against the child, because there's no game, there's no opposition. You are too good. And that's the problem that we have. We are too good. So our solution become to say that we don't know. We're cheating ourselves and saying that we don't know. So I know that I know, but I continuously tell to myself, look, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, you don't know. So all the time you say you don't know. Now, how do you prove that you don't know? It's very tricky. What you do, you go around and you say, I'm right. I'm just right. You have to be right, because when you are right, you write about you don't know. And you make someone else not knowing as well, because they obviously also don't know. And the whole game become a who knows less. It's very twisted. It's very insane. But the game is who knows less, where the truth is that everyone knows. It's almost impossible to understand, but if you start to look at life in that view, you will see you've got an argument with someone, you just want to show him he knows less, so you know more, so you can be even less knowing. Maybe I'll explain it in a different way.
Yes, please.
Yeah, let me explain it in a different way. You will understand that you know that for every plus there is minus, yes?
Yes, yes, you explained that really well.
Good. So you are the plus, you are the all-knowing. And the more plus you will have, the more minus you will be, the bigger the game. So the game is how big is your game? As much as you think that you are right, but you say, I'm right, but you know that you are not, that you are wrong. So you say, I know, but you actually know that you are not. And what you do is you're trying to emphasize the minus by saying plus. And every time someone shows you that you are actually wrong, you feel really, really, really bad because they spoiled your game.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm. And
really,
yeah, we don't want to feel wrong.
exactly. So you
We
consider
want
that saying that you are wrong is the worst thing in the universe. People think that to say that you are wrong is the worst thing in the universe. Why? Because your game, your life, your interest is to make yourself wrong. And when someone else make you wrong, you don't have a game anymore. You've been exposed.
that's a cause of a lot of conflicts in this world.
Yeah. So the first thing to understand is that every problem that you have, you cause, and you cause it in an effort to create interest in your life. And I know it sounds weird, but the only problem that people have is they don't have enough problems. I know it sounds weird. I know. I'll prove it to you. Okay, I'll prove it to you. How do I know that you have too little problem and that you created? Let's say that your problem is you have an argument with your husband and it's a major argument. Okay? And now someone shoot you. Now you've been shot. Do you understand that the problem with your husband has been solved at that moment? And you
Yes.
have a much bigger problem, yes? Which means you created the problem. You created your problem. So the problem that you have is too little problems. Who is the people that are more successful? It's people that are willing to take more problem on. Not people that try to avoid problem. The more problem you are willing to take on, the more powerful you are. And people that try to avoid problem, their problem is that they think that the problem that they have right now is big enough and it's okay, and they're trying to keep it. They're keeping that problem. Yes? But the truth is, you don't solve problem. You create bigger problem, and that's how you expand.
Oh, so what do we do?
What do we do? What do we do? What you do in life is the following. You know that any problem is just an illusion. It's nothing real. It's not real. You created it. You can uncreate it. Enjoy.
Okay, so that's awesome. It's an awesome concept. But how do you say that to someone who's going through so much struggle and they say, but this is real?
Yeah. You don't say it to them because it will make them wrong. You expose this is what I explained at the beginning. The one thing you don't do, you don't take from people their own problem. What you do, if someone has a big problem, and he thinks that this is like really, it's impossible. What you tell him is, think about what could be worse. Now, what you do when you ask him to think about what could be worse, he's actually in his mind creating bigger problems. When you have a bigger problem, he doesn't have to hold on to that smaller problem. So that smaller problem become a no problem for him, slowly but surely. If you just continue and ask him, okay, fine, I understand, yes, you have a big problem, but what could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? What could be worse? All of a sudden, you see that he will feel better. And within a week, that problem would somehow be handled, and he will tell you, I was so lucky the problem was handled. He will not even know that he handled it.
Mm-hmm.
And he will tell you, I don't know it. I was so lucky, and this happened, and that happened, and that happened, and the problem somehow disappeared, and it was handled. And I was so lucky, but it was not luck. Luck means the demonstration of ability. So in a way, he was lucky, but not in his definition. He was really lucky. He demonstrated his ability. So you have a problem, you need to look for more problems. The wrong thing to do is to look for less problems.
So this is so different than what we're taught. Whenever you are going through a struggle, make a gratitude list.
Oh my God. No, make a gratitude list. It's say how I'm an effect. Make myself more effect. Because what does it mean, gratitude? It means, look, It's not me. It's someone else that causing my life. So I will be full with gratitude. Did you ever seen someone really powerful full with gratitude? No, someone that is really powerful will thank someone and for a specific delivery. Someone did something, he will give him a thank you, but he doesn't gratitude anyone. He thinks that everyone is perfect and everyone is able and and he just go for it. Gratitude just make you an effect. And you see in the last few years, I hear more and more, oh, gratitude, 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 and everyone going down, 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 while being very gratitudable. But it's nonsense. It's not making you cause. You don't want to do a gratitude list. You need to create a bigger problem list. You need to become bigger, stronger, more able, more badass, not less.
Oh my gosh, Meir, everything you teach is so different than what I've been taught, what I've, just you challenge everything I feel like I know. Oh,
But think
okay.
about it. If I go around and I say, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Every time I say thank you, thank you, thank you, for no reason. It's not that someone really gave me something. I make the other person criminal on the one hand, and on the other hand, other than making the other person criminal hider.
This is my mom. She's.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
She wants to listen because she can't find me on Facebook. She can't find our talk on Facebook. I just asked her to plug something for me. This is so funny.
It is funny.
I love it. Mom, thank you.
What's her name?
Farida.
What's her name?
Farida.
Frida. You know my mother,
Yeah.
my wife's mother also is Frida.
Oh yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, we're Iranian background. Meir. Farida is a Persian name.
Yeah. Wow. 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 Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So the problem with gratitude is that you are lying. Because you are cause, you created it, not him, not him, not him, not that, not that. You created it. And every time you say gratitude, what you say is you said, you know what, I'll give you a thank you, kind, like you don't deserve it, but I'll give you a thank you. But the agreement is that every time that something is wrong, I will also blame you because you caused it, not me.
Hmm.
It is a way to become more and more useless, more and more irresponsible, more and more stupid, more and more blind. No gratitude, badass. I created it. I take the good and the bad. And if there is anything else in between, I eat it as well for breakfast. Yes.
I don't know if you see this.
Yes, I see
Can
it.
you see this?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
What does it say on top, Meir?
On top, oh, let's see who. Who's the boss? I am. Yes, yes, exactly.
So I'm listening. I'm listening, learning a little bit at a time. So I've attended your past few webinars.
Yes.
The first webinar I attended, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm enlightened. There's so much that I'm grasping. There's a lot of concepts that I'm getting. The second seminar, I sent you a text in the chat. Meir, my head is steaming right now. Like, I was so overwhelmed with information. I couldn't take it anymore. The third seminar was totally over my head. It was just too difficult of concepts, too high gradient for me to understand.
Yeah.
So, but I want to understand because I'm searching. So what do you got for people like me who aren't your students, who don't have the concepts, but we want to learn? Where do we start, Meir?
Go to my website, meirrezo.com, and do the free seminars. I have full seminars that are totally free, organized in a very easy segments of 10 to 15 minutes. So you take one concept at a time. And if you have any question, you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, Meir Ezra Official or Meir Ezra on Facebook, and you write to me. and I will answer and I will direct you.
I know you will. I know you will. Thank you. Can we move on to a second question, Meir?
Of course, anything you want.
Okay. All right. So according to you, in your opinion, what is the most important need in our life? Is it family? Is it money? Is it love? Is it companionship? Is it leaving a legacy? Is it validation? What is it that we need the most?
We need the most to be understood. If someone understood you, you will give your heart to him. You want to be understood. You just want to be understood. That's what you always wanted. And the only thing that the person wants is to be understood. If someone understands you, really understand you, but that you feel that he is like, wow, basically become you. Because understanding is a gradient scale of distance. When you fully understand something, you have to become the thing. And when someone really understands you, you love him like you love yourself. Even more. And that's why love is the urge to be together for no reason at all, because love is the result of full understanding. It's a moment or a span of time of full understanding. And when you really understand why mother love her child before he born, because she understands it's part of her. And why a father become a father only at the age of 3, more or less, when the child is about 3, is because then that's when he starts understanding.
It's because it's less work then.
Yes. You know, there was this child, and he was walking with his mom. And the child was picking up something from the floor, and the mom says, no, don't do that because it has germs. And she explained to him this whole thing about germs. And the child looked at his mother with awe, and the child said, Mommy, how come you know so much? So the mother said, you know, I went to a school for mothers, and I've learned all of these things, and I had an exam, and I passed the exam, and I became a mother. And the child was listening to that, and he didn't really understand it. He couldn't understand. After about half an hour, he said, oh, Mommy, I got it. So the mother said, you got what? So the child said, I got it. Those people that did not pass the exam become the father, yes?
That's good. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, so it's really understanding. Understanding is what you want. You really want to be understood. You just want to be understood. That's all.
What's the best way to understand someone?
The best way to understand someone is to be willing to accept anything that he says, anything, without any evaluation. Just you look at someone, he says something, and as much as it makes sense to you or not, you accept it, that it's real for him. And the more you accept that it's real for him, you just accept. You don't have to agree. Understand is not agree. I understand why you do that. If you can understand why someone does something, you actually saved his life, and at that moment something amazing happened. At that moment, that person will do only good. He's incapable of doing bad because he's doing in relationship to you, yes? And in relationship to you, you become him, he become you. So of course you do only good things for you.
Wow.
So the more you, the less you, the thing to understand is that you don't fix anyone by finding faults. You fix people by understanding them. Now, sometimes in that process, you need to look at things, and the person do something, and you understand him. And because you understand the mechanism, you may do all kind of movement, but the purpose is to let him know that you really understand him. And the moment that you get that you understood him, all the resistance falls, all the dislike falls, all the upset goes away. And you will see that if a person just understands that you understood him, he will give his heart to you in a heartbeat. That's how powerful it is.
Let's say you love someone very much and they are in a you can see clearly that they are hurting themselves. They have habits that are self-destructive, and you can see that. How do you approach this person? Let them know that you understand, but at the same time, tell them what you think.
No.
You don't. You just don't.
Let's do a let's do an exercise, okay?
Okay.
Let's say that you think let's say that you're doing something really bad, okay? Let's say that what you're doing, you I don't know, stealing, okay? You're not doing that, but let's say just you're stealing. If I will come to you and I know that you're stealing, yes, I will come to you and I say, oh, actually, do you know what? Let's do something else, something more. Tell me about the problem that you have, some disagreement that you had with someone that did something bad to you.
Okay, so let's say someone you know that's you know, I don't know, doing drugs.
Okay, good. So you're doing drugs, and I want to talk to you, okay, about
Yes.
it. Okay. So hi, how are you doing? Just
Fine.
how you?
Oh,
Yeah, you
we're
are the
role
drug.
playing.
You are the drug. Yes.
I
So
gotcha.
how are you doing? How are you doing?
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
And good, excellent. And tell me, I understand that you are looking for money to buy drugs. Is that correct? You ask me to give you money for drugs.
Yeah. So what?
I think it's good. I think that you really need it. I really understand that you need the money. It's obvious because the body asks for you. You need to have it. It's impossible without.
Yeah.
Really,
So
is
give
that
it to
correct?
me.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good, excellent. And for how long you've been doing drugs?
They would say it's none of your business.
Okay, and it's true. It's not of my business, but I really like you, and I care about you. So it's not of my business, but it's just that I care about you, and I want to understand exactly what's going on, so I can figure out how I can help you. But I really, really want to understand you because I care about you, because I think that you're amazing, and I really care about you. So how long you've been doing drugs? And I come back to the same question. I don't let them go away. Yes. How long you've been doing drugs?
Mm-hmm. Few years.
Okay, good. And how did it start?
I don't know, man. You're asking too many questions. Could you just give me the money?
Actually, it's true. I do ask a lot of questions. You are right. And there are too many. But I do it because I really want to understand. Because I think that I'm putting myself in your position. And I think that you're doing unbelievable job. That you somehow handling yourself. And I really admire that. So tell me, when did it start? How did it start?
I can't
You see what I'm
remember.
So you see what I'm
Yes.
saying? I always give him, I'm agreeing with him all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going away from the question. I'm controlling the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
So
he
how far
knows.
do you take this, Meir?
So what do you mean?
How far will you have this conversation? At what point do you give up?
I never give up.
Oh, wow.
That's
why you rehabilitate addicts.
Exactly, because they want to be helped.
Mm.
They want to be helped, but when will you stop to help them? When you will feel that you failed. You stop to help when you feel that you failed to help. So you think that you're doing some damage.
Would you give them the money?
Sometimes, yes, I will, if that's what they need. And this is something that, yes, I will give them the money. If that's the handling, I will figure out, okay, so they need the fix now. And of course, if they need the fix now and I don't have a different solution, I'll give him the money, but I will go with him and I will monitor him and I will make a plan of what's the next step.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot of dedication.
And I would make a plan for the next step. Maybe right now there's no handling. He's already increased. He's already out of his mind. He needs his fix, blah, blah, blah. You can take him to a hospital, but then they will make him even worse because they will give him even more drugs. Or you can say, okay, fine, take the money, but I'm going to help you. And you go with him and you help him. And you make a plan on how there's no more fixes.
I can see how just showing this sort of interest in and validation, that you're validating the way they feel. You're not saying your emotions are wrong. You're saying, yeah, you understand. I can see how that would open up the communication.
Yeah, and it always works.
Yeah.
And drug is an extreme example. Like just a relationship, you take a husband and a wife that have a fight, or just two people that have a fight. And it happened to everyone, all of us. You can have a disagreement. And the handling is quite simple if the purpose is to handle the person. So you go and you have a person and you have with them a disagreement and they are, you're a bad person, screaming and shouting and screaming and shouting. And you, first of all, let them cool down. You wait. You don't call immediately. You will want to call immediately and to talk to them immediately. No.
Yeah. Especially women.
Let them cool. Let them, give them 2-3 days to cool down. And sometimes you can do that if you really know what you're doing, you can do that within a few hours. Okay, so they cool down, you call them and you say, okay, so I want to talk to you, and they say, I've got nothing to talk to you. You need to apologize. Okay, I understand. I understand that I need to apologize. You don't apologize if you don't need to, yes? Or if you don't feel that you should. And yes, I understand. So tell me, what should I apologize about? And he will say, well, you did that, you did that, you did that, you did that, you did that. Okay, good, very good. Thank you for telling me. What else? And you did that, and you did that, and you did that, and you. Okay, good, excellent. Tell me more. What do you mean, tell me more? Tell me more. I want to understand how bad I am. Hey, well, you are very bad. I agree. I'm very bad. Tell me more. And if you can keep that thing going, just listen, understand them, all of a sudden they will see that actually they did something really wrong. Because if someone attacks you very badly, there could be a misunderstanding, a miscommunication between two people. You say something, they didn't understand, blah, 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 there's an upset. Okay, no problem. But if the person go and start to attack you, you understand that the misunderstanding was because he was hiding something. And if you want to help him, you will find what it is. And at that moment, that person improved. And you saved his life. And who cares about the misunderstanding? Because you saved his life.
Yes. And so much heartache can be saved with this.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Meir. I have a family member very dear to me who's living with schizophrenia. What's your take on that sort of mental illness?
Well, what I would do if when I have something like that, first of all, I will make sure that the guy will get off his drugs, because the
medication.
Yeah, because the drugs that he takes make him worse. Because think about it, mental illness, it means that there is something spiritually that is ill. Okay? So if the spirit is ill, how come cutting pieces of the body or giving drugs or doing something to the body can affect the spirit? positively. Think about it. If the spirit is sick, let's say the spirit is sick, there is an illness of the spirit, how come fixing the body will change anything with the spirit? If it was like that, then you would be able to take some kind of a blood test that will show the mental illness. You would be able to take some kind of a test of the body that will show the mental illness. But mental illness cannot be tested physically. It can only be observed by another person. Does it make sense?
It makes total sense. I think the downside is that when this person wasn't on medication, things were really bad.
Hold on, that was not all the handling. So the first thing is to take the person off medication, of course, with the help of a doctor, because those medications are really bad. It's the worst drug on the universe.
They make people like zombies.
Worse than street drugs, worse than any drugs. The most difficult medication to get off it, or drugs to get off, is those drugs, because they really make you an addict and dead person, dead. There's no person there. So the first thing is to remove the person from the drugs. Second, or the first thing is to understand that this is a major undertaking. Yes, because if you want to handle a person like that, you need to be within 24 hours a day with the help of a doctor and yourself, or at least one or two people. And the idea is you take them off the drugs, you put them in a place that's very isolated. Very isolated. It's better to be somewhere in the desert where there is nothing that can remind them of anything else, because their own environment is very re-stimulative for them. It reminds them a lot of things, so the mind starts to work automatically. So you take them to an isolation, basically big space with nothing there, and all you do with them, you take them to very long walks, like 8 hours per day, 9, 10 hours per day, until they're exhausted. You get them to sleep, you get them to eat well. And you do that again and again and again and again, more or less 3 weeks, and the person will come back to himself. He would just become, he would just, one day he will be like, oh wow, what are we doing here? Wow, what's happening? Oh, there's mountains here. Whoa, I didn't see those colors. He will all of a sudden realize that he can see, and that's it. You just get him off medication, good food, good sleep, vitamins, minerals, and you will see that the guy in 3-4 weeks at the most, come back. That's the total handling of any mental illness, nothing else.
Wow. Let's just wow. I'm just overwhelmed with this. Wow.
It's a big undertaking. It's a big undertaking.
Yeah.
It needs to be a 24 hours watch, 24 hours. Someone have to be next to you 24 hours awake. And you will see that if you will just do that, exhaust them by looking at big spaces. They need to look at big spaces and walk, not talking too much. You just walk with them and let them look at things. Minimize the talking, like as little, you answer anything that he asks or says, you just acknowledge. You just agree with them, agree with them, agree with them, agree with them. Oh, sorry, understand them, understand them, understand them, understand them. And when they're exhausted, you put them to sleep. They sleep, they wake up, they eat, you walk again. And that's the handling. You don't need any medication. Because what's happening, why a person is sick? Because the mind, the pictures, something turned them on. There's a movie that tell him, look, there's aliens that wants to eat you, or I don't know, the FBI is behind you, or there's an assassin that wants to kill you. He's got this thing going on. For real for him, it's very real for him. If you take him away and get him nothing to turn on these pictures, those pictures will turn off, the movie will turn off, and he is back to himself, and he's now back in control, and then the movies will not turn on by themselves. Of course, you can do all kind of other things in between that I can show you to help you with that. But the key is you need to get them to a place where the mind do not turn on. So the movies do not turn on. And the movies in our life turn on because of the environment. They don't turn on by themselves.
Yes. Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. I feel like mental illness is rampant in our society. And I feel like
especially right now, people are dealing with a lot of anxiety. People are afraid of the future. They're uncertain. So what's your suggestion?
Okay, so before it's getting so bad as someone is on medication, etc. So before you go to that extreme, when you start to feel fear, anxiety, and so on, you need to understand two things. Number one, it's not real, because fear is a situation when you don't see, when you don't observe. So what you're afraid of do not exist. That's the first thing that you need to hold as a stable piece of information. That's 100%. You need to know cold. It's just not true. Okay, so that's the first thing. And second thing that you need to understand, you need to move your body. To be afraid, you need to be still. You need to move your body. You need to start to do things. The simplest thing, start to clean, start to organize, go out, run. They tell you that you need to be in quarantine, find a way, find things to move. Don't do things that are in your mind. Don't go into reading books. Don't watch movies. Don't go to Netflix. That will make you more sick, because this is you becoming an effect. You're sitting on Netflix for 8 hours, you're rotting, you're becoming an effect, because all these pictures making you effect. You don't do those things. You don't have screen time. What you do, you have work time. You clean, you build, you jump, you move things, you go, you chop wood, you do things that has to do with handling the environment. Why? Because now you'll be showing that you are cause. And while you are doing that, you will see that the magic is that the moment that you start handling the environment, you will understand that you are the boss. You'll understand that you can cause things, where most of the time, most of the people are sitting being an effect. They're just being bombarded with things. This has happened, and then they're watching the instant vision, and then they're watching movies, and they're all just being an effect 10, 15 hours per day. So of course you'll be afraid, because what does it mean to be afraid? Not to observe. What does it mean to observe? To put something there. You're not putting anything there. You need to put it there. You cannot be a piece of meat that's sitting there and being bombarded with rays. You need to put it out. Go and find things to do with your body. Move the body. Move things in the physical universe.
So important. So important. That's why I teach kickboxing on Zoom, Meir.
Yeah, that's good. And you will see that the quarantine caused so much anxiety and fear, because people were stopped. They couldn't even go to work. Just the action of going to work, needing to go to the office, needing to go to a meeting, needing to move your chair. This thing has been taken away from you. And because you don't outflow anything, you die. You die mentally, you die. Because a spirit is the thing that bring about something out of nothing. And when you are not allowed to do things, it's worse than hanging you. That's why the quarantine is so crazy, because your freedom is more important than your health, and your mental health is more important than your physical health.
Oh, so true.
You understand?
So true. So true.
This is so unbelievable that people don't understand that. Freedom more important than health, and mental health more important than your physical health. And so no quarantine ever will be good. It's like some people saying, put me in jail. When? How insane do you need to be to say, put me in jail? How low someone can get, how effect someone can get to agree to go to jail. Like asking, people put themselves in self-quarantine, self-jail. They call it quarantine, but it's actually a jail. They lock the door from the inside. They don't even need to put guards. Wonderful.
I heard you say this yesterday. That question was so important. What's more important for your freedom or your health? And I never thought about it before. I never did. But you're so right. It's like if you don't have freedom, if you're not free, what good is your health? Like, why would you want to live if you're not free?
Yeah. Who wants to live in a box? Let's say that we can connect you to pipes that will give you everything accurately, the right food, nothing out of balance, everything is okay, but you just need to be in a box. The matrix. You will be an energy producing unit, yes? But
yes.
Why would you want to be in the matrix like that? Why, what kind of life is it?
So many people live like that, Meir.
I know, that's why we're here, to explain that it's not right. You are so powerful. How do I know that you're so powerful? Look around how much media and how much force is being used to prove to you that you are not.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean, be afraid? Be afraid means you, look, you are useless. Who is afraid? Useless people. Be afraid means, look, be useless. If people will be afraid, they will never go to war. You will never have freedom. You'll never have the US. You will never have, you will not even protect your own family because you're afraid. You're afraid, so you don't protect even your own family. Even animals are not afraid. They understand that the pride, that the group, that the future is more important than the immediate body. So they go and they fight. And yes, some will, I gave, there was an example of what is the quarantine. The quarantine is similar to, imagine, in Africa, there are animals that every season they have to go to a totally different place where they find their food, okay? In the process, they need to cross rivers, and those rivers have lots of alligators. Now they know that in every season they will cross through this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 animals will be eaten by the alligators. But they know that that's part of life, this thing is part of life. Then one government person come from the World Health Organization that really, really care about those animals and put a fence, they put a quarantine in front of the river to make sure that they don't cross, so they will not be eaten by the alligators. Do you understand how insane it will be? Yes. That's what quarantine is. That's what quarantine is. It's insane. It's insane.
So, Meir, what is your suggestion?
My suggestion.
What do you? Yeah, because you always talk about abide by the law of the land, abide by the law of the land. But speak up your mind. I tell them you disagree.
Yeah, I tell you, if everyone will just say you don't break the law, you just say I don't agree with that. I abide by the law, but I don't agree with the law. I know it's fine. This is the law. I want the law, but I do not agree. And if me and you and everyone else will say just a hashtag, I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree with the quarantine. I don't agree with forcing me to put mask. It is the mask lie is like the mask lie. They're trying to hide the lie with masking it. It is just unbelievable. The lie is that there's no problem. So now when the opening, they need to make it look bad. So like there was something. So they tell you, put mask. Well, think about it. What does it mean to put mask? You don't need to be a scientist to understand that you breathe in good air, oxygen, and you take out CO2 and other bad air. You don't even need to know what. You take in good air and you put out bad air. That's normal thing. Now come some politician that he is better than God. He knows better than God how the body needs to work. And he says, you know what, from now on, breathe your own breath. For as long as you're at work. For 8 hours per day, breathe CO2. So basically he says, look, God was mistaken. He didn't design us so well because the actual design was supposed to be that we take 90% of the air that we breathe out, we should recycle it. God was not clever enough. I'm the politician, I am. So you have to put a mask. What? You're going to poison everyone with the mask that don't help anything? Where's the good and bad? What are you trying to do? The mask will never stop anything, yes? It's not going to stop the disease because it's in the surface, because you touch it, because you cannot, and because people taking it on, off, and because people touching themselves. It's not going to help, nothing, but it looks good. It looks like there's a problem. And we are all about politicians, is all about how it looks. So the politicians that consider that they know how to design bodies better than God, tell us, let's do a redesign. Let's do a redesign for the body because, you know, God is not so smart. That's what they say. And if you understand that, if you are religious, basically, if you are religious, you would not agree to that because they say God is wrong. That's what they say. God is wrong. God was totally wrong all those years. He didn't know how to handle. He created the viruses, but he didn't know how to handle them. So what he says, God was wrong. So let's be more clever than God and let's stop breathing.
So what if you're not religious? What would you
The same thing, just use your head. Religious people, not. For religious people, there's just another reason. But even if you're not religious people, just look for yourself. Forget about everything. Look for yourself. Does it make sense to you to breathe CO2, to breathe dirty air, to breathe poison into your system all day long when you're at work? Does it make sense to you? If it makes sense to you, do that. I think that the majority of the people don't need a degree from MIT to understand that that's probably not such a good engineering solution.
It all comes down to, I think, personal responsibility. And,
just have a look. Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
Does it make sense? Does it make sense to you or it doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah. And why people do that? Why people buy this lie? Because they're afraid. So they don't look. Because when you're afraid, you don't look. And our job is to just tell you not what to do. Just I ask you to look. Please have a look. Does it make sense to you that if I put a mask, I block new air from coming in, so it's hard for me to breathe in. So I put a stress on the body. I breathe in a bad air. I make my body sick. When I make my body sick, I become more susceptible to become sick from COVID or any other diseases. So basically, I'm making myself into a more fruitful place for diseases to live in. Because I become weak, my immune system become weak, I become weak. And it is the stupidity by the power of 20. I cannot even call it stupidity because it is a compliment to say that it's stupid. Do you understand? It's worse than stupid. It doesn't help anyone. Even the World Health Organization said that the masks do not help. But politicians are better than God. They know how to redesign the body.
And your job is to make people think.
Yeah, just to have a look. Just have a look. Observe. I'm not telling you what's right and what's wrong. Have a look, observe. You breathe in oxygen. You're supposed to dispose of the bad stuff that's coming out. And I tell you, I have a good idea. From now on, what we'll do, you breathe less oxygen because I will block the flow in. What you will breathe in is all the bad stuff that you take out, you breathe in. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be anything. You just need to look, and you will realize that the lie of the mask is there to mask the lie of the COVID.
Ah, that should be in quotations.
Exactly.
Right there, right there. Maybe I'll make one of these with that.
Exactly.
Meir, can we acknowledge some people who are watching, please?
Yes, of course. So who do we see? We see Facebook user, which I don't actually know who it is, but he said that's funny and so on. Then I see Avi Budara, which is a friend from Israel, very, very talented musician, a very talented person, and his daughter is like unbelievably good and unbelievable singer, and he's got a wonderful family. He's quite amazing. Lisa Phillips, I don't know if you know Lisa, yes? She's the author of The Artistic Age. And yeah, very, very unbelievable, powerful, amazing lady. Anton is a friend that I know from many, many, many years ago when I just started a very small company that I sold later on before I've done the big company. And then I see Ashisha, and I'm not sure if you know her or not. And she's saying, great session. Wow, you are live in Periscope too. Great. Yes, we are live in Periscope too. And that's the people that I see. I don't see the people on Instagram, but I know that there are people on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, you can find the link for my next free webinar in my bio. And if you're on Facebook or on Periscope or YouTube, go to www.meirezra.com/yoga. And I have a free lesson on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it is 9 p.m. South Africa time, 10 p.m. Europe. Yeah. Get ready for your mind being blown.
That is what you're gonna get. That is what you're gonna get. Do you mind if I name a few names?
Of course.
Meir, okay. Ali, thank you. Henrik is watching. Sohaila, Navid, Robert J. Moore, a great coach. Edna, Saber, Greg, Ahmed Shah. That's my inside information. Reinforcement when I need Meir Ezra explanation.
He's really good. He's really good. I like him a lot. He's actually a very, very good coach. Very good coach, and he has. Yeah, if you have a chance to check him or to check his Facebook pages and Instagram, he is really, really smart and good and amazing human being. Very good heart, unbelievable human being. Yeah, more important, he's very good coach and everything. But just talking to him, you will see that things will be good for you because he's just nice.
And he's generous with his information. Right?
Yes.
And he speaks very highly of you, Meir. And I think you have an interview with him later on this afternoon. Lots of people, Shaheen, Glenn, Lynn, Annie, Paul. Thank you so much, Paula. Paula is a great friend. She's actually sent us a comment. Paula says, you cannot fix the spirit with medical drugs. That's why they end up on meds for the rest of their life.
Exactly. Very smart. Yeah. Also, again, by the way, that's the same thing. Just common sense. You don't need to be a doctor. If you understand, if you know that you are not your body, that's it. End of story. Medication do not fix the body. That's the spirit fixing the body.
Lots of people agree with you, Meir, on the fact that the mask is the mask to lie, to mask the lies, right? Yes, thank you so much. I really, really appreciated this talk, Meir. I know that we're out of time and you are very busy and you're going to be doing other interviews. Oh, Ahmad Shah says his interview is tomorrow. Excuse me. Yes, correction. I want to thank you again for this opportunity. Please, please, please have me on again so that we can
anytime
continue.
you want. You're so wonderful and beautiful and smart
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
and everything. Like really, it's really, really nice to talk to you. You are very
Thank
special.
you.
Very,
Thank you
very
very much. I appreciate it. And my mom says thank you.
yes. You know what? Next time she should be with us on the interview.
Yes, she should be.
Organize.
My
Yes.
mom,
She will
my
give
mom
an
is an amazing person, Mayor. My mom was, when she was 40, she took me and my brother, just the two kids with a suitcase, and she left Iran for a better life. She took us to France, and then after 3 years, she traveled again to Canada because she wanted us to have a better life. This is a woman with a heart that's, I can't, yeah, very courageous.
So how about if we do an interview together, you and
that
her?
Sounds wonderful. Yes,
yeah, I
thank
really
you.
like that because she have to be a powerful person to do all of that and to change and to move country and wow and alone.
Yeah.
She
And
has
alone.
to be very,
Yes.
very, very special. I would love to talk to her. So if you can
Thank
organize
you.
it, it will be.
I will. And she won't sneak around anymore. That's the funniest thing ever. We got a
That
good
was
laugh.
cute. That was really cute. You
Thank
can
you.
see that at any age, at any age, you're still a child. Everyone is
Yeah.
still a child.
Thank you. Okay, so for anyone else who's been watching, thank you. This has been Della's Voice with Meir Ezra, hoping to spark your soul. Thank you, Meir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.